Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wiggin' Out with WigginOutBZ. It's a Wiggy Weavy Wednesday and it's a tutorial, so yay! I know you guys are so excited for me to do another tutorial. I'm sorry I've been so absent lately. I have been working non-stop. I had one day off in about 7 weeks, and that was like 4 days ago. And it's just been nuts here in the city. It is freezing. It is like 30-something degrees out. My heat's really not on that high, so I have a hoodie on, I have a long sleeve shirt, and I have like thermal pajama pants on. I am cold, girl. So today's little tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to revitalize a wig. Now, I've been getting lots of questions asking, how do I take the frizz out of a wig? How do I untease a wig? How do I do all of that? So I figured I would kind of bunch it together into one tutorial on how to how to brush the teasing out of a wig and then how to restore it back to silky straight smooth. Now this is kind of a companion video to my steaming wigs out tutorial, which you guys can view right here. I'll also put the link down in the box. If you're on mobile, you won't be able to see my little thing right here. It will mainly be about how to brush out the teasing and then how to steam it out straight. Now I know you guys are wondering, well, my wig was curly, I don't want to have to make it straight, or my wig was like a nice like cute little wavy thing, I don't want to have to make it straight. Even though the wig started as wavy, the parts of it that were teased are going to kind of be crinkled and kind of together. So even if you brush it out, it's still going to kind of look a little fried and sad. So you guys can just steam it out straight. I have other videos, they'll be around here area, to show you guys how to reset and recurl a wig with a couple different methods. So this technique is only for synthetic hair. Synthetic hair, you have to melt with the gentle heat of steam and water for it to take a curl. Whereas human hair, the way human hair is constructed, you just get that thing wet and you let it air dry, it'll hold in whatever shape you put it in. Case in point, you go to sleep with your hair in a braid, you take it out in the morning, your hair's wavy. You put your hair in a bun at night, take it out in the morning, it's curly. That's how human hair works. You don't need to steam human hair or anything like that. These techniques only apply to synthetic hair. Also, synthetic hair is a lot easier to brush teasing out of and detangle than human hair. And that is because human hair has what's called a cuticle layer, which is basically like shingles on a house, like this. And when you tease that together, basically what you're doing is you're opening that cuticle layer like this, and they can clump together like this. That's why sometimes you get a human hair wig wet and it dreads up into one big thick dread. That's because the cuticle layers are attaching themselves to each other. Synthetic hair is basically a very thin string of plastic. So it has no cuticle layer, it has nothing like that. So it's not going to tangle up on itself permanently with the cuticle layer like human hair would. It's just going to tangle and bunch together like this, but you can easily separate it out. So when you're doing this, you may notice that a lot of hair is coming out in your brush. That's okay. That's hair that's broken, anything like that. So this is actually 3 or 4 different blonde wigs that I brushed out and steamed within the last 24 hours. So you can see this isn't really that much hair when you think about it. Between 4 wigs, it's not a lot. And honestly, what I like to do, especially if I wash the wigs and then steam them out, I save this and I turn it into a wrap. So then I don't have to buy a jumbo braid, I don't have to buy a donut filler or anything like that. I have a nice little ball of blonde hair right here. I'll put a net on it, turn it into a wrap. Now it's kind of obvious to me, but not to many of you, if you guys want to make your wig super curly, little tiny rollers. If you guys want to make your wig medium curls. If you want to make big waves, use big rollers. If you want to make it straight, just steam it out straight. To revitalize and restore a big old frizzy messy of a wig, what you'll need obviously is a wig. Now I always use a wire wig brush. But if I'm steaming out something, I like to use a wire bristle brush, and that's because the wire is obviously metal, and that heats up with the heat of the steam, and it allows you to get your wig smoother and straighter faster. You're also going to need a tail comb if you want to put a part in your wig. You also need a carbon cutting comb or something like that that's heat resistant, so that you can kind of get those ends nice and flat and straight. You also need a round brush. You can use a bristle brush, as I've said in other videos, but recently I started using a ceramic brush, again, because this heats up, it conducts heat, it lets you get it smoother faster, and I find that I get a better result with the ceramic brush, but again, it's up to you guys at home. You'll also need an oil sheen of your choice. I've been using Motions a lot lately just because it's so much more readily available than Finishing. I have a couple cans of Finishing up there, but I find that Motions smells nicer, and I think that Motions actually stays on the hair a little longer. That is what I love about Finishing, is you can spray that girl down, brush her out, put her in a net, and then by the next morning the Finishing will be gone, and you'll be left with a nice little sheen, and it won't feel sticky or oily or anything like that. But with the Motions, this wig was coated and coated in Motions, and it's actually still a little damp. That's why it's kind of clingy right now. But I find that Motions sits on the hair and doesn't dissipate out quite as quickly, which for something like making a wig straight from frizzy curly mess, this comes in handy because it lasts on the hair just a little bit longer. Don't use olive oil sheen. In the green can, anything that says olive oil sheen or anything like that, that is way too heavy. It'll stick on your hair will clump together, your hair won't lay right. It is that heavy and sticky. It just sits on the hair and just bleh, not good. I'm going to try a little bit of a different angle with you guys today because this is so not hard to do, but it's, you're pulling, you're jostling the head around, and if I were to do this on my tripod stand, it would be a little nuts, and I'd have to stay with my foot on it like a crazy person. So I decided to try to move my camera over a little bit and try to capture the action at my actual workstation. Sort of kind of cleaned up for you guys the other day, so ta-da. Wig was big and teased, and the top layer was brushed smooth, but it had a whole bunch of teasing in here and all throughout. I then brushed it a little bit and then washed it and then let it air dry overnight. I like to do that because I like to get all the hairspray out of it and everything, but if your wig is very, 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 very heavily shellac sprayed, like really just hard hold hairspray for years and years and years, you're going to want to brush it out thoroughly and steam it out before you wash it, and you're probably going to have to wash it like 2 or 3 times in baking soda shampoo. You can also, to get it quicker, you can do laundry detergent for the first or second one, and then do shampoo with baking soda for the last one, just so it doesn't smell like Tide, This is the head here. So you can just see how much actual like fluff and everything is in this hair. Okay, so the first thing you want to do with your hair is you want to heavily douse it with oil sheen. What you want to do is you want to kind of section out your wig. Now, this wig was only really teased at the root area, and I tease in panels. So for me, when I go back to steam it out or do anything else to it, it makes it so much easier because I can just follow a panel across like that, like I just did, and then it's easy for me to remove the teasing. That section in half again. Okay. So, now that I'm just on the bottom portion of the wig, you just want to start on the ends, and you just want to gently brush them. If it's a wig that I just teased at the base, I'll brush out the ends nice and smooth, pretty much up until I get to where the teasing starts, up here in the root. The number one trick to getting out teasing with a brush is to brush opposite of the way that you teased. You just want to figure out which way the teasing goes, and if you tease in panels like I do, makes it even easier. So since I teased horizontally through my wig, that means I'm going to go in with my brush vertically and brush horizontally. Does that make sense? So what you want to do is you want to just go in there and you want to brush horizontally like this. Teasing will come right out very easily when you use this method. Sounds better. It's still very dry. That shine is just from the oil sheen. But when you go in and steam it out and everything, it's going to look brand new. You take your next section and you just repeat the whole thing going up. And then once I get into the top and the front, if it's a lace front like this one, especially a hand-tied one that, you know, takes 10 hours to do, you guys want to be careful when you're brushing in the front area where the lace is. So what I like to do is I actually like to take that frontmost section and section it out and deal with it on its own. So I'm also going back into the skin top area of the wig. So you can see from front hairline to here is about a thumb, which is about 2 inches. And that's just so when I'm brushing this out, I'm not going to rip the lace or risk damaging it in any way. Ladies and gentlemen, oil sheen is your best friend, okay? When you have a lace front on a block and it's blocked down securely, as you always should when you're going to be doing anything to it, you're putting pins in it, and basically those pins are what's holding the wig lace down. However, if you're brushing and you're pulling backwards, like I was doing earlier, and back here, it's going to put stress and it's going to pull that front lace. So you can run the risk of your pins pulling out, you can run the risk of an area you thought you had blocked but you actually didn't, pulling out and rippling or anything. So to just kind of be safe, I like to take this part and I like to brush it out gently, and I like to brush it out forward so that if anything, I'm pulling the lace the opposite direction and not back to rip it. Once you have it all nice and brushed out, you can brush it all back off the face, again, gently. This is what happens when a wig is teased for a very long time, compacted, and, you know, left in that style for a while. See how this hair is just fluffy and just dry looking up here? And it also, you can't really see it because the hair is so light. Probably wasn't a great idea to do this on a blonde wig, but this is the last wig I have to do for a project. You can see that it almost looks like relaxed African American hair. It has that like texture to it. Even though it's straight, it still has a texture. And basically that is just from, you know, heat in the atmosphere, moisture in the atmosphere. When it's teased down, it kind of reshapes the hair. Like, do you ever notice if you have a nice curly wig, you put it in a bag, don't touch it for like a year or so, you take it out, and it's curly and there's like one flat part where it was laying on itself? It happens. So basically you can leave it like this. It's nice and big and full. You know, some girls like that dry hair look. I don't. So I'm going to show you guys how to steam her perfectly flat and straight. And stay tuned. Okay, so now that you have her nice and brushed out, nice and smooth, you can begin to steam her out to smooth and polish and shine it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it into sections. So I usually like to do the crown. I clip ear to ear across the back, much like this. Up. And split the bottom in half as well. So now I'm going to turn on my steamer so it can heat up. I recently bought a new one because mine kind of conked out. Because apparently you're not supposed to keep the water in them, which it says in the instructions, but who actually reads the instructions? This is a Homedic, I believe. It's a Home Touch. I lied. It was like $100. You can get a warranty with it. It lasts for like 2 years is the warranty, so that's good. When you're steaming out a wig, you always want to steam starting at the top, going down. Now this is on, you guys probably, there you go, you can see it now. The reason why you want to do that is because when synthetic hair gets warm or gets hot, it shrivels up. So if you start at the bottom of the wig, you can kind of, I'm not sure if you guys can see this on the camera, but if you're starting just on the bottom, the hair will kind of shrink up. For you guys at home that this is your first time doing something with a wig, you want to be careful and you always want to start at the top where the roots are, and you just kind of want to get it hot. I'm not touching it with the steamer yet. I'm about maybe an inch and a half away right now. Just getting it warm, and then you're brushing it like that. You just want to make sure that you get all of that hair nice and warm, because then once you brush it, it'll just flatline right out. You guys can already see how that teasing and everything is all just gone from the root of that wig right here, and it's just nice and flat and smooth. I put my brush underneath, and I like to put my steamer right on the brush and quickly swipe it down like that. Almost like you're doing a blowout, but you don't want to keep the steamer on the wig like you would do with a blow dryer. And then I like to flip it, and I like to do it on the top. I like to flip it, I like to do it on the side, all of that stuff. And you can already see that that is nice and straight and smooth. You guys can see here how much flatter and smoother this is, and I can run my hands through it now, see? Ta-da! Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your round brush, and this is just so you can get those ends nice and polished and get the frizz out of them. Same thing as before. You want to start with it away from the steamer, and you just want to kind of roll it down like you'd be doing a blow dryer. Kind of want to roll the ends a little bit, and then I like to just get the steamer right on those ends a little like this, kind of like you would with a blow dryer. And then you kind of like roll it around in the brush a little bit. And then that's how you get your ends to be nice and perfect and smooth again. Just like that. So now that you've steamed most of it out, you can see that it moves again. It's a little damp, but it's still moving, so that's good. That's a good sign. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering about parts and stuff like that. So if you want to be able to part the wig anywhere and you want the wig to kind of stay off your face, you want to steam the whole thing back. Like just pull it, snatch it straight back and brush it out. But since this wig, I want it to be sleek, 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 but have a nice sleek side part to it, I'm going to brush through it and I'm going to put a side part into it. Like that, where it's like almost on the side, but it's almost a center. Like an off-center part like that. And then you just kind of want to steam right where that part is, right there. And then you just want to make sure that you steam your hair nice and flat around it. So now I have this side to do, same thing. Where I'll take my comb and I'll take the fine tooth side of it, and that's how I get the front to lay nice and smooth and flat, is with the comb. Okay. Go in with the brush. This is what she looks like all done. As you guys can see, she's nice and smooth and straight. It looks a little stringy and greasy right now because it's not fully dry. It still has some sheen in it and it still has some water in it from the steamer. So if you guys want to make a wig straight, don't do it right when you need it. Like, don't do it at 7 o'clock and you need to wear it at 9. Don't do that. Do it earlier in the day or a couple days before, just so that you'll have time for the oil sheen to dissipate out, and you'll have time for the water to evaporate, and you'll have time for it to go back to normal. But as you guys can see, even with that water and that oil sheen, this wig is still moving and whipping me in the face. That is how you brush out teased hair and revitalize a synthetic wig. Thank you guys again for watching this tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. I've been getting asked about this a lot, and I just figured, hey, do a tutorial, show you guys how to do it. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Be sure to check out my new online web shop, www.bobbypins.com. You have to put the www before it or it won't work. Don't ask me why. Ask Shopify. I have no idea why. I have moved from eBay over to there just because it's easier. You can use a credit card. You can contact me through the shop, and I have international, and I have I moved from eBay to there just because it was easier for me as a seller to just move somewhere else where everything's contained. I had a lot of people on eBay buying a wig and then never paying for it and then never replying to my emails, and then I have that stupid notification saying please rate this seller, but the bitch never paid me, so I try to delete it, and it's just a hassle. So if you guys go to www.bobbypins.com, all the wigs I've had on eBay are there. My brush set's there. I'm also now selling synthetic wefted hair. I'm also soon going to be selling other things such as canvas heads, stands, toupee clips, wig caps, all of that fun stuff. So it's the same great products, the same great price, just a different place, and it's easier to pay because you can do PayPal, credit card, etc., etc., etc. So please check out that was 4 W's, www.bobbypins.com, one word, and you guys can check out my new shop. Please buy some stuff. Help me pay off my debt. So thank you guys again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys real soon. Thanks.